It is time for the news bulletin, and we start straight away as Egypt categorically refuted the media reports that it was ready to move 500,000 residents from Gaza into the dedicated temporary city in the Egyptian northern Sinai Governorate as false. The State Information Service said that such accusations run contrary to the Egyptian unwavering position declared on the first day of the Israeli war on Gaza that rejects any attempt to displace the Palestinians out of the lands, whether in arbitrary or non-arbitrary ways. The SIS added that the Arab plan for Gaza reconstruction was based on the Egyptian clear position of fulfilling the process with no relocation of a single Palestinian. The Israeli occupation army expanded the ground incursions across the besieged Gaza Strip in a fresh attempt to drive the Palestinians out of the enclave days after it resumed the war of genocide in the Palestinian territory. Late Thursday, the occupation said the troops had begun conducting ground activity in the Shabura area of Rafah, Gaza's southernmost city. Israel earlier said that it had closed off the territory's main north-south route as part of expanding ground operations that resumed on Wednesday. The Gaza Civil Defense Agency said 504 people had been killed since Tuesday, including more than 190 under the age of 18. The overall death toll in Gaza since the start of the war is 49,617, according to the Hamas-run territory's health ministry. An UNRWA official warned on Friday that it has only enough flour to distribute for the next 6 days in central Gaza as a result of the Israeli blocking of aid entry into Gaza since early March. Meanwhile, the Israeli Occupation Defense Minister, Israel Katz, said that the army was intensifying the strikes from the air, land and sea in Gaza to pressure Hamas into freeing remaining hostages. After 2 months of relative calm, Gazans were again fleeing for their lives after Israel effectively abandoned a ceasefire, launching a new all-out air and ground campaign against Gaza since Tuesday. The Israeli occupation forces said that it struck military sites in east and south Lebanon overnight in the latest attack, despite the November ceasefire that ended the war against Hezbollah. Also, the Lebanese state media reported the Israeli strikes. 4 missiles were fired in the Nabatiyah area of southern Lebanon, and no casualties were immediately reported. The Israeli occupation forces said that it intercepted 2 missiles launched from Yemen overnight after sirens blared in occupied Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv. Yemen's Houthis claimed the responsibility for the 2 missile attacks, adding that they fired a ballistic missile toward Ben Gurion Airport near Tel Aviv and another one at an Israeli occupation site in southern Jaffa. The Houthis also reported at least 4 U.S. strikes on the El Mina district of the Red Sea city of Hodeidah, an area which houses a major port and the headquarters of the Houthi naval forces. The Sudanese army seized full control of the presidential palace in Khartoum on Friday in one of the most significant advances in a 2-year-old conflict. Sudan TV and military sources said that the army was conducting search operations in areas around the palace in pursuit of members of the paramilitary rapid support forces. The paramilitary group took the palace and most of the capital at the outbreak of the war in April of 2023. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei said that the U.S. threats against his country will get them nowhere after President Donald Trump warned of the possible military action against the republic. Khamenei said that Tehran does not need proxies in the region, and any groups in the Middle East that Iran is aligned with act on their own motivations. Earlier, Trump said that he would hold Iran responsible for any attacks carried out by the Houthis as his administration expanded the biggest U.S. military operation in the Middle East since he returned to the White House. And the Kremlin said on Friday that the Russian President Vladimir Putin's order not to strike the energy targets in Ukraine was still in force. Putin ordered a limited 30-day pause on strikes targeting the Ukrainian energy infrastructure on Tuesday, following a telephone conversation with the U.S. President Donald Trump. Earlier, the Russians accused Ukraine of hitting a Russian gas pumping and measuring station in the western Kursk region, setting on fire it on Friday morning in an act of terrorism. The facility, once used by Gazprom to export the gas through Ukraine to Europe, is an area recaptured by the Russian forces this week after heavy fighting with the Ukrainian troops who had held it since last year. And this brings us to the end of the news bulletin for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.